do you try to get them? How do you do it? Because I imagine it like, in the Matrix, where he puts the fucking massive file down. He's like, Mr. Anderson. And unwinds it and flips it open and starts going through the pages. Do you lay it out for them, or do they know they're fucked when they're sitting there anyway?
I don't know if they know. They must know why we're there. And they've got to know.
I suspect they have a pretty good suspicion.
Right. Do they think they can get away with it? I don't know. I'm not sure what's going through their head at that exact moment. But if I put myself in their shoes, there's a reason why there's a lot of these suspects end up called taking a brass plea. They usually take themselves out. Not usually, but it happens quite a bit with those types of investigations.
I wish it would happen more.
Yeah.
I would, again, volunteer my services to any agency that needs help with this. I just need a blanket pardon and an address and an 8.5 by 11 glossy headshot.
And obviously, I don't condone any violence or anyone taking their own lives, but it does.
I condone pedophiles taking their own lives. I would feel comfortable going on record with that. I'm okay with the pedophile killing himself.
Oh man,
I don't say that, and I don't say that lightly. And there's very few things that I would be okay with that with. But somebody that harms children like that, fuck off into the sunset.
Yeah, that's a rough one, man. Like most criminals, you take a murderer, and just someone who is just a sociopath, and you're like, hey, pedophiles, yeah, no, and they're like, absolutely not.
I do appreciate how they get treated in prison.
It is not a good experience.
And I appreciate that. Even among criminals, there's honor among thieves. And from what I've heard from some people who are deeply in the know, it is a rough ride.
It is
no
not
pun intended.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look, I did a relatively short time in that task force, and those investigations are so detailed and they take a long time. You're writing a lot of legal process to different entities to try and get information to put your case together. So while I was in there with ICAC, I had investigations going. I wasn't able to get one to a point where I was taking my guy, but I was also before that taking people for similar type crimes, right? Producing child pornography.
But what's it like sitting in the room with those people? Do they seem normal?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there's some dudes where you go, that's
very stereotypical, if you will.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's the dude living in his mom's basement, and he's got the Jeffrey Dahmer glasses, and it says, like, I don't know, I heart anime or whatever on there. It's always anime or Star Wars. I don't know why.
Michael?
Yes.
I believe I've seen you in both of those shirts.
Often at the same time.
We're going to need to open a case.
Dude,
First off, don't ever wear your Star Wars shirt again, because that's what it means now. We're going to double leg anybody we see wearing a Star Wars shirt on the street.
For the record, I don't have a Star Wars shirt.
Yes, you do.
I just want people to know that.
Dude, and listen, this isn't 100%. I like Star Wars.
Stats.
I can't.
I get it. It's a trend. All right.
It's a trend. It's always anime or Star Wars.
How do they act when you're laying it out and they realize they're fucked?
It's either...
Is there a breaking point for them?
Generally, yeah. So there's the denial, and it's usually a very soft denial, like, no, I didn't do that. And you can kind of see them melting.
Flip the page.
Right.
Mr. Anderson.
Right. So for example, one of the cases that's adjudicated at this point, this guy, he was basically grooming his niece from a super young age. And this is one of those cases where she had her own cell phone, but she also had a burner phone that her uncle gave to her.
Oh, of course.
Right. So, and that's where they communicated through Facebook. And over the course of quite a few years, I think she was 12 or 13 when her case landed on my desk. But he had been, sexually abusing her, online enticement type stuff. Hey, sneak out of your house and come over. I love you. I'm going to leave my wife and we're going to get married, and all sorts of stuff like that. Right. So we get to a point where we can make an arrest. And we come to find out that he had been producing photos of her and had those on his phone. So we get those photos, we put our whole case together. We rewind on that. We knew about some of these photos. I didn't know how many though, but I had 2 or 3 at the time. We arrest him, bringing him in for the interview. And at that point, I mean, this guy's like, he doesn't know how much we know, right? But as we're laying it out for him, you can see him kind of sinking, and the denials become weaker and weaker and weaker. And eventually are just like, hey man, like we know you showed up to a park to have sex with your niece. Like you haven't been talking to your niece for the past 3 weeks. You've been talking to me and my partner. So we know what's up, and we have all your messages, and we have the photos inside the truck. You showed up with a moving blanket down on the bench seat. Mm-hmm. You got condoms in the car, flowers, and the chocolate that we asked you to bring.
Jesus.
Right? Like that kind of thing. So he gets to a point where he goes, yeah, okay, nope, I showed up. This was the reason. I was trying to get back at my wife because we've been having issues and yada, yada, yada. So, which that's a lie, but thanks for telling me that.
Yeah.
And finally,
there's a variety of probably other fucking legal means that you could get back at your wife if you wanted to.
Right.
Or don't be a dipshit. Maybe sit down and talk with your wife.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the last thing that we showed them were the photographs. They were, we call it sanitized, right? So
Yeah.
we sanitize the photos.
Digitize it out or whatever. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And put them down and go, hey, what about this photo? Is that her? And he goes, yeah. And I go, that finger right there in that photo, is that your finger? And he goes, yeah. And shake this one. Yep. Shake this one. Yep. Shake this one. Yep. All right, cool. So, God, last year he got 30 years.